Hello everybody and welcome on today's video. Today I would like to talk to you about this fusion willow. We had a look at it last year, and well, today I think I will do some work on it. First of all, I'm going to get him out of the pot. I'm going to add some trees and then make sure that the fusion this year is better than the previous years, because it was not really a big success, and I will show you why I say this. So to show you what I mean, you see all these little scars here. That's where the previous raffia or wire was, and it's all scarring the tree. But fusion, well, you don't see a lot of fusion. We can go up a little in the tree. I'm bringing the camera in. This is one of the highest spots in the tree. I'm going to remove the raffia here now to see what's going on. Very difficult when you have big fingers and small raffia. Maybe if I cut it all loose, it's gonna be easier. Definitely. Okay, so you see all the trees are marked, but they're not really fusing. This one is trying to grow over this one, so it's gonna take a long time before there is really fusion. So I will have to wrap it with another type of raffia or material. But first of all, let's get it out of the pot and see what the roots did. I'm going to get the tree out of the pot. And, well, that's not too difficult. It filled the pot again with roots, and you might recall, if you saw the previous video on this project, you might recall that this tree is growing on a fusion plate. This is just a piece of plastic with holes where I put the cuttings in. So I will have to dig to that point. Going to scrape the soil gently away. As you see, there are a few cuttings that I just put in the ground here in the pot, and they grew. By the way, these are other cuttings from this same willow, and I intend to use a few of them to add to this project. So you see 1 year, and that's what they do. This is a bigger one, the biggest of all, and I put a wire around it just to give it some shape. Maybe I will try to plant this alone. And strangely, these trees don't die when you let them just in water. They don't like soil, or I don't know, it's mysterious. Maybe if I plant this in pure, really pure lava with lots of air, that's maybe what they like most. I'm not sure about that, but I can give it a shot and then feed them with well, diluted fertilizer. Can be organic. If you just add it to the water, it will dissolve. So I'm going to clean this up, and I'll be back in a few seconds for you. I'm almost done now. I need to go out and give this whole thing a wash so that I can see what I'm doing. I hit the so-called fusion plate already. It's here. So this is the piece of plastic where the cuttings were put through. And I notice, of course, that every year more of these roots are now emerging from above this fusion plate. So that's, of course, very good, because one day I will have to get rid of this. That means I will have to cut all the roots on the bottom here, and then the roots above it will take over. But in a way, this fusion plate doesn't bother me. Could stay there forever. It's not really a problem. See, that's the sound of the plastic, but it will be better when we can see it. So let's wash this tree. So what I see now looks quite okay. So this is the piece of plastic, and well, it's all around, of course. And this is the new roots above. So this is quite good. It's already a considerable amount of roots. This is one of the trees I inserted last year. I think it made it. One died. These are the roots above, under the fusion plate, and well, if I cut something off, it's going to be, of course, these roots, giving them a light trim. Because I need the roots under it to sustain the tree for a few more years, but of course I want the roots above the fusion plate to take over. So I'm going to cut only these ones. Have a look at what I removed. Okay. Can I remove some more? Maybe these ones, because they're a little thick. I intend to put the tree in a bonsai pot this year. Fairly thick roots, you see. Well, let's be a little more severe. The problem with willows is not really that they don't grow, and they grow very well as cuttings. So if you leave just a little roots, it's okay. But for some reason they die back, and I would love to know why this is so. And it could be something with soil. Too much soil, maybe. Too much thick soil. I don't know. Okay. So let's take some new trees. So these are the two little cuttings that were growing in the pots, and as you see, they don't have a lot of roots. I'll put them in the pot of water now, like that. And these are the cuttings that were growing in a pot of water, just water, nothing more. So they made a whole lot more roots, and they grew better. So again, this is interesting. I have to untangle this, like so. So yeah, again, probably a question of just water. They love water. So what I want to do now is have a look at a few holes that I have left, and insert some of the new cuttings. And I will try as well to, well, this raffia comes loose now, of course. That's not a problem, I have to replace it anyway. So I want to add some new trees. So therefore I'm just going to put these young trees here just above the fusion plates, insert them in the fusion like so, because I want to have a better choice of branches that I could use. And if I get this at if I wrap this up to here and I get this one afterwards out of the wrapping, it could give me a branch, and I want to position a few branches extra so that I can choose later. Now the easiest way to get yourself an extra pair of hands is just using a few pieces of old wire that you can put around your trees quickly, and then as you put your raffia or whatever you're going to use on, you can remove it. So these are the two longest I have, I think. So I'm going to use these, and no, this one is quite okay. This one is a little shorter, but it will do. These are small, and so we will put them back in the water and let them grow like so. But this gives me 4 new branches, and that's all I'm going to need. So because the raffia is coming loose already, I'm going to put some wire here to keep this in right position. The synthetic raffia doesn't rot, and the best part of this fusion plate, the plastic thing here, is that it keeps your trees stable so that they don't run away. And I'm going to see where I want some new trees. So, well, here is a hole, so I tried to fill this hole last year and I failed. So I'm going to put a tree here, right into this hole. It's a little small, so maybe I put another small one in. So now the gap is well filled. And I have branches here, I have branches there, so maybe a branch here, why not, like so. Try to put the biggest roots at the outside, of course, because they will form your surface roots in a few years. And then, what else, I don't know, an extra, maybe here. So I put this one in this spot. Okay, so I'm going to fix them with another piece of aluminum wire. This aluminum wire is very flexible, and it's not too difficult to work with it, so it just keeps everything where you need it for a few minutes. So that's all we want. So the next change will be this. This is not raffia, it's something you use to wrap a present, but it has a few good features. First of all, it's not too big and it's not too small. It has the color of my willow tree, which is not important, of course, but it's nice to look at. And it's flat, and it stays flat, and it's not wrinkly, and so I think I'll give it a shot with this. It's very inexpensive too. So first I make a little loop like that, and then I put the whole thing through here, and then I put the whole tree through that. So okay. So here we have it. And now it's going to be quite a challenge to keep this flat. I want this tree to fuse this year, to start fusing well this year, and I want that to get as flat as possible. So it's going to be very hard, because this thing is going to start to fall and go everywhere. So I will have to keep this nice and tight, and it will have to cover every centimeter, every millimeter, in order to have a good compression. When the trees start growing, it should grow everywhere, starting to compress the, let's call it the raffia, even more, and then the fusion will take place. So of course the branches I will leave out of the wrapping, and I'm going to do this off camera because I think I'm going to swear and curse and do all terrible things. So I'll see you in a few seconds. Well, I'm making some good progress here. As you see, this is a nice shiny wrapped tree now, and I'm interrupting my work because I found this spot here, and here you can very well see that the fusion is complete. It's still a little scarred, of course, but these pieces are really well fused together, so it works if you have enough compression. Okay, so I'm going to finish this tree now. See you in a few seconds. So I'm almost done. Took me about an hour, and the last part I want to do now is to get as low as possible to fix the base of the tree. And before I do that, I will have to arrange these roots as good as I can, comb them out so that they spread in a nice radial pattern, and then just tighten the last piece of well, raffia. So let's just do that. Some of these roots are quite long still, but that's okay. And that's it. And I'll tighten this. I'm going to start nice and high and work my way to the bottom. The whole tree is now wired. Look at this, look like a golden tree on the screen of the camera. And I have planned to put him in this pot. The drain screens are already in position. This is a fairly big pot, but I want this tree to grow as fast as possible. But I'm not going to use the same deep pot, because the tree always goes down with the roots, and I'm going to try to spread these a little more out. So, like I said, I'm going to use just lava, nothing else. So start with a good layer, and because, well, we will have to look at this tree for quite some time, I'm going to give it a position in the pot that is fairly acceptable. Maybe move the camera a little for you. 1 second. Yeah, so this is going to be a whole lot better. So of course you see the tree has a nice movement here in the trunk. Well, it has nice movement everywhere. I don't know, it could be this way, or it could be just the other way. I don't know, but it will be something like that. And if you don't like it that way, well, we just turn the pot and you have it the other way, so that's okay. Doesn't really matter now. As you see, I got myself a few new branches because I left some of the cuttings out, and now I'm going to cover the roots with some more lava. Make it stay nicely in the pot, like so. Okay. Of course, I'm covering the roots completely because there is no real flat surface, and I'm going to work out my soil just with a stick, and I'll see you when this is done. So I finished planting the tree in pure lava, which contains absolutely nothing as nutrients for the plant, but since the cuttings do better than the tree, the cuttings I mean growing in the water, looks like this might be a good idea. Future will tell. Anyway, they fuse, we saw that before. Last thing I want to do now is take some pieces of wire and just open up a little the new little branches. Man, this is really strange. It grabs to nothing. It's very how should I say, it glides. So I'm going to open up the structure so that every tree gets a fair amount of light. So with deciduous trees especially, it's important to start your branch with up, and then you can go everywhere where you want, but you start your first move up. And then you can of course make an interesting curve in that direction, and maybe just add some more interest by putting that curve in forth and back direction. So I'm going to wire every little branch, open it up, and then we'll have a look at the results. The tree is now completely wired, and I'm going to position a few branches now to make them grow in the right direction, and maybe like so, and open up the structure so that every part gets a fair amount of sunlight. Some of these branches, especially at the top, are way too long and heavy, so I'll have to cut them back. But this I will do when I'm sure it's not going to freeze or something. It's still quite cold here in Belgium. I will have to reduce some parts at the top, because like most of the deciduous trees, these willows, they are apically dominant. But I think this is starting to become an interesting start. I'm going to start with a quite rounded shape, and the thin branches here at the bottom can grow a whole season and get thick. But I already have a nice start of a three-dimensional tree here, which is of course important. You see. So I hope everything grows well and that every cutting survives and that fusion starts to occur. So that's basically it for today. Thank you for watching and see you next time.